In Oakland, our public school system is under attack. We have been effectively disenfranchised and subjected to a series of unwanted and unwarranted educational experiments. These changes that have been forced upon us have resulted in budget cuts, school closures, an explosion of new charter schools, and a dismantling of many of our vital public education services. The effects of these changes have been particularly acute in lower-income communities of color, resulting in a disparate impact on our students' ability to receive a quality education in Oakland public schools. Currently, after suffering a decade's worth of attacks, Oakland's public education system is failing to deliver quality services throughout the district. In 2003, Oakland Unified School District borrowed money from the state. One condition of the loan was that the state superintendent would appoint a state administrator. The state administrator assumed the authority that once had been held by the school board, and citizens of Oakland became effectively disenfranchised. The state administrator was only supposed to oversee financial issues, but quickly began to change the way education is delivered in Oakland. The state administrator changed the curriculum, closed traditional neighborhood schools, and allowed and encouraged an explosion in the number of charter schools in Oakland. During our 8 years in state receivership, where we had no democratic representation, no say on how our schools were governed, many of our school communities were devastated, and our district was put on its current path. Not only did the residents of Oakland not ask for these changes to our public school system, many of the changes were forced on us without our knowledge or despite overwhelming community opposition. There was no need to take over our school system, close schools, and continue to open charter schools. These actions continue to cause irreparable harm to our students. Oakland now has over 40 charter schools, which is 1/3 of our schools. We have the highest rate of charter schools in the state of California. Almost all of our charter schools are run by private companies based outside of Oakland and were started by application, not by parents, educators, or the community. Charter schools are not required to take all students, are non-union, have not outperformed public schools, receive public facilities for little or no cost, receive taxpayer support, do not pay on our debt to the state, are not subject to public oversight, are exempt from parts of the Ed Code, and in Oakland have only been started in low-income communities. Even if Oakland School Board rejects a charter school application, the county or the state can overturn Oakland's decision and grant the charter. We no longer have the ability to control or run our public education system. At the end of the 2011-2012 school year, Oakland again experienced the trauma of school closures when 5 elementary schools were closed, displacing over. And in Oakland, the 94608 zip code has no public elementary school at all. The district has given a variety of reasons for why the school closures were needed, but none of the reasons hold up when examined, and none of the answers explain why these particular schools should be closed as opposed to others. We were told the district had a structural deficit of $30 million and they needed to close schools to balance the budget. Other options for changing the budget priorities, like limiting the use of outside consultants or reducing the central administration or a combination of fixes, were never looked at. The district said the closures would save roughly $2 million, which is about 1/2 of 1% of our operating budget, and could have been paid by our reserves. The cost of closing the schools greatly outweighed any savings. The district estimated losing at least 20% of the students from closed schools, and it looks like the loss was far greater. The district spent nearly $1 million building portables to accommodate the moving students. And most of the closed schools were QUIA schools, which meant they brought in extra money for our district. We were told that the schools to be closed were under-enrolled, but our district controls enrollment through the central office. So the schools have no control over the enrollment. The closures were not based on test scores or performance, and we have never been given the overriding issues that went into the decisions to close the schools. We were told our district had too many schools and too many empty classrooms. Again, this claim was proven false. Oakland is not a shrinking city. We have as many school-aged children as ever. We have a higher number of schools because we had a strong community-led small school movement, which meant we broke up our bigger schools into small ones. If we reconstituted those schools, our numbers would be in line with most other cities in our state. At the same time Oakland closed schools, we opened a brand new facility and broke ground on 2 new facilities. But of course, those schools were in different neighborhoods. Each of the 5 closed schools have been the valued anchor of their neighborhood. They had educated generations of students, hosted community gatherings and meetings, and been their neighborhood's emergency shelter. What was once a source of neighborhood pride and identity has been taken away. Of the 5 closed schools, 2 are now being used by charter schools, again disproving the notion we didn't need the schools. 1 school is being used by a public middle school, 1 is being used for administrative offices, And the fifth one is being leased to our neighboring city, which happens to be the city where our current superintendent used to work.